Hello.
Hey, what's up? I'm
What's
Olivia,
up? I'm Amy,
and
and
this
this is
is Girls
Girls
Gone
Gone Spooky.
Spooky.
We're
Hell
back.
yeah. We back, and we back, and we back. Um, okay, we have a very fun repeat topic. We love a
Yeah.
series,
Yep.
and we are back on our bullshit with haunted hotels. It
hmm
just never ends. Um,
There's a never-ending supply of these.
Yeah,
So
right. Like literally doing the research for this episode, I was like, and I've added 10 more to the
another one.
list. Okay.
Yep.
Good, 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 good.
Perfect.
But it's fun and it's spooky. And I said this
Yeah.
before we hopped on, but like everyone gets a little creeped out with
hmm
hotels. So it's like
Yes.
kind
Yeah.
of universal.
Yeah. We can all feel it.
Do we have any like content updates before we jump into this? I feel like I
Mm.
don't. I've forgotten how to read all of a sudden.
How to read.
Yeah, I just don't know how.
um. Yeah, I don't think I have anything either. Actually, I've been.
That's so lame of us.
I know. Yeah. Although, did we talked about Outlander? Did we talk
Yeah.
about the new show, the new one, the
Uh-uh.
prequel?
What?
It's so good. It's called
Wait,
Blood of My
what?
Blood. It's on
Blood
Apple
of my blood.
TV. And it
Okay.
is about Jamie and Claire's parents. And it is
Oh.
excellent. Like,
Really?
and even Dave loves it. We're watching it together. It's so fun.
Okay. Okay. Was it
So,
a book
recommend.
or no?
I actually don't know. I think it might just be like for the fun TV aspect. I don't think
Yeah.
it was a book. Let me look it up real
Okay.
quick.
Slay. I kind of like when it's not connected to book content because I feel like, oh, I should read it before I watch it. But I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it is. So,
Okay. Well, I don't need to
yeah,
read it.
it is. No, because it's separate from the
Yeah, I
Outlander
honestly
story.
may not read the other Outlander books. They're
I don't
just
think it's necessary.
slow.
hmm
They're just
And they're
really
really
slow.
long.
They're
Yeah.
so long. Like, I literally was like, oh, it's over. Like, based on where we were at in the story. And
hmm
then I was like, oh, I'm 60% through. How is that possible? Like,
Yeah, it
it,
just
it
goes
also just
on.
doesn't, like, it doesn't end in a natural place, which I don't get.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's fine. That's fine.
The show is good.
Okay,
So,
that's what you
but
said.
I
Steamy.
also I watched the show before I read the first book,
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped after the first book. So sorry,
Fair.
Diana
Okay.
Gabaldon,
Sorry.
but
Sorry, girl.
show's really good.
Sorry, I'm
So
illiterate.
I forgot how to read,
I
so
just
this is
have
over.
selective illiteracy.
Yeah,
Feel
exactly.
me?
Yep,
Um,
understood.
okay, well,
Well,
should we
let's do
freaking
it.
do this thing? Okay,
hmm
so we're starting in one of my favorite cities that I've never visited, New Orleans.
Same. I was thinking that while I was doing my New Orleans hotel for today.
Yes, yes. Um, okay, so we're starting with the Hotel Monteleone or Monteleone, but I'm gonna say Monteleone because I feel
hmm
like that's better.
hmm
There's a bunch of history about the hotel that honestly has nothing to do with the haunting part, so I'm just gonna skip it.
Skip it.
Okay, so this is from Ghost City Tours, New Orleans. Um, Okay, so they say for generations, near on a century, guests of the Hotel Monteleone have reported spotting ghosts or experiencing strange things during their stay at the hotel. And it's no wonder, right? The hotel is over 100 years old with 600 guest rooms,
Whoa.
and the number of people coming and going is tremendously high. It would be even stranger if a hotel that old didn't have any ghosts still lingering around. According to the employees of the hotel, however, none of the ghosts who still inhabit the property are aggressive or angry, so nice.
Yep.
And having spoken at length with paranormal investigators who have completed overnight stays at the hotel, Kent Wasmuth feels secure in the fact that any ghosts still residing at the hotel are friendly in nature. Thankfully, he adds, there are not any aggressive or mysterious happenings that would want to cause any harm, which is sort of a nice change of pace in a world where people staying in haunted buildings are sometimes shoved downstairs or experience other aggressive energy directed toward them. So then it cuts to like the main investigation that's been done at the hotel. And this was back in 2003 when the International Society of Paranormal Research ventured into the Hotel Monteleone for an overnight investigation. They'd previously heard of the hotel's paranormal acclaim, and Dr. Larry Montz, the lead paranormal investigator, was interested in discovering just how haunted the haunted Hotel Monteleone was in reality. Turns out, pretty freaking haunted. So Montz and the other investigators unearthed over a dozen entities during their stay. Some spirits they discovered were previous employees of the hotel, which I feel like is pretty common. Men like William Red Wildemere, Red like nickname, who died of natural causes within the hotel, had never left. Downstairs in the lobby, the restaurant door was always reported by guests and employees alike of opening and shutting of its own volition. The investigators quickly realized that the door actually remained locked and it was operated by a push button off to the side. Without AC blowing and without someone actually pressing the button to release the catch, the restaurant door ought to have remained shut basically at all times. Ought to being the key words. With the use of various ghost hunting equipment, the investigators were able to uncover that the moving door was on account of two ghosts of previous employees, one who had been a chef and the other who had been a busboy and waiter. And apparently, one of the spirits prefers to have the door open, which results in an ongoing paranormal feud of door open, door shut politics. But Montz and the investigators were more concerned with the ghost of a little boy named Maurice Berger, who still likes to play pranks on the 14th floor. In the late 1800s, it seems that Maurice's parents, Josephine and Jacques, were frequent guests of the Hotel Monteleone. They were even more frequent guests of the French Opera House on Bourbon Street. But the opera was certainly no place for 3-year-old Maurice, so he was routinely left at the hotel with a nanny as his parents went to enjoy the nightlife of the French Quarter. One night, when his parents were ill, Maurice fell gravely ill. That would be horrible to leave your kid behind and then they get terribly sick.
Yes.
His temperature spiked, his little body convulsing with sickness. Though his nanny tried to tend to him as much as she could, the fever was much too high and Maurice passed away that night. When the Bergers returned from the opera, they were horrified to find that their son was dead. Josephine was so distraught that she demanded her husband bring her back to the Hotel Monteleone every year so that she could hopefully come in contact with her dead son's spirit. Some years later, she apparently did. The ghost of Maurice appeared to her in the dead of night, and tears streaked Josephine's cheeks as she allegedly gripped her son's apparition in a tight embrace. Leaning back, Maurice's spirit assured her, "Mommy, don't cry. I'm fine." Which is very sweet,
nice.
but also, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it seems Maurice is just fine, but his spirit continues to wander the hotel on the 14th floor where he perished. Numerous guests on that particular floor have reported waking up in the dead of night only to hear childlike laughter and then seeing the apparition of a toddler totter past them as though playing or perhaps seeking his now long dead parents. And that's kind of sad because he died long before them, was younger, but is still stuck kind of.
Yeah.
And this leads to the rest of the 14th floor. So that's not the only haunting that's there. One night, a couple entered the elevator on the lobby of the hotel. They pressed the number for their appropriate floor and found themselves in a tight embrace. So they were hooking up in the elevator, essentially.
Oh, okay.
They were so otherwise preoccupied that they didn't realize the elevator had stopped on the wrong floor, the 14th floor. The door pinged open and the couple stepped out, eager to head back to their hotel suite. But the moment that the elevator door closed behind them, the air around them grew cold, the skin on their arms prickling as an inkling of awareness edged out the passion. Holding hands, they slowly made their way down the hallway. The cool air grew so much that a chill was shuddering down their spines. They rounded the bend in the corridor and nearly released a scream at the ghostly scene before them. Although the couple hightailed it back to the elevator with record speed, what they saw was imprinted in their minds. Apparitions of children playing in the middle of the hall, and children not wearing present-day clothing, but clothing of a bygone era. Childlike giggles, and then one by one, each child's apparition stopped and turned to stare at the couple before they all vanished from sight.
No.
I would shit my pants.
Imagine.
I would shit myself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Just like... And then,
Turning.
blip,
Yeah, no.
fucking creepy.
That just made me think of the movie that's coming out that you're probably going to see that I will never see, but I can't remember the name of it, but have you seen the preview?
Weapons?
Yes, for the kids that are running, like, with their arms out.
No,
Oh,
I haven't seen the preview yet, but I keep seeing it, like, on the Cinemark app. I need to, like, I need to watch the trailer.
Yeah. Because that has played in a few of our, like, when we go to the theater.
Yeah,
I can't even look. For some reason, the position that they're in, like,
really freaks you out.
Me. I feel
it
offended.
Hurts me. Yeah, fair enough. Scary, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's
anyway,
so funny. Yeah, so that would scare the shit out of me. I will go and watch that and report back. Okay. The, like, identities of these kids may have been like kind of a mystery. Many other paranormal investigators have come in contact with a 10-year-old boy who likes to frequently visit the 14th floor. And that spirit actually informed the investigators through EVP sessions that he died at a later age, but he likes to return to the Hotel Monteleone as a young boy so he can play with the other spirits of children who remain at the hotel. So not entirely sure who all of those kids are, but at least like 2 of them are identified. And that's kind of like going back to what the tour guide at the Stanley said, is that idea of like you can go back to any place at any time, right, or any age that you feel connected to. So so then the article turns a bit into like, okay, so all these hauntings on the 14th floor, but is it actually the 14th floor? And it's not. So the 14th floor is actually the 13th floor, although it doesn't say 13th anywhere. And we've talked a little bit about this, but a little bit more on Triskaidekaphobia. Strangely enough, for a period in history, hotel architects and other property managers or property builders were so suspicious that they decided that it was best not to have a 13th floor. The number 13, as most of us know, has always been linked with superstition, and many building owners opted to avoid having one, to avoid any bad karma or omens that might be attributed to the number. Some owners did so in the hope that their hotel or business would flourish, while others decided against a 13th floor on the chance that their tenants on that floor or employees were themselves superstitious and wouldn't want to visit or work for the company. Otis Elevators even released a survey claiming that approximately 85% of buildings that contain their elevators, which would be in the US probably, maybe Canada, don't have a 13th floor. 85%.
Wow.
It's crazy. Huh. So whether fact or fiction, it's a real fear that people have. And I think we've talked about a lot, like the power that fear has in like manifesting bad vibes and even maybe real entities in some instances. And lots of weird things have happened to this elevator. It's not just that couple. So obviously the elevator dumped that couple on the wrong floor. So they went running back, got to their floor eventually. But another story, a family that was staying on the 15th floor always chose to use the elevator during their stay. But creepily enough, no matter if they were riding up or down, the elevator always stopped on the 14th floor. The 2 daughters, both of whom were under the age of 7, were understandably frightened and told their mother that they wanted to take the stairs instead. So the mother decided to conduct her own paranormal investigation. Leaving her daughters in their hotel room, she rode the elevator alone, twice. The elevator did not stop on the 14th floor, and she figured it was just a mishap. So she assured her daughters that there was nothing to be worried about. I rode it myself. But when the three of them took the elevator down to the lobby, stopped on the 14th floor. And I feel like it's because there are kids.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They like want to hang out.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. It's like kind of unclear why that elevator is haunted specifically, but it's probably the ghosts on the 14th floor or really 13th floor manipulating it to suit their own desires. So that's the Hotel Monteleone. And I did want to just like share a little more about Triskaidekaphobia before I hand it off to you. So two things I included. So Triskaidekaphobia is the general fear or avoidance of the number 13. Triaphobia, I'm not kidding, that's the word, is the fear of Friday the 13th. I didn't know that was a thing. No. But it's related. Obviously, because it's the 13 is the unlucky number. So I wanted to talk a little bit, just really quickly, about like the origins of this. And it dates all the way back to just after the Middle Ages in Europe, but also from across different cultures. There's evidence of fear of the number. Playing cards is one thing. Tarot card games have been around since at least 1450, starting with the Visconti Sforza tarot. And one of the cards, the one that represents death, is numbered 13 in several of the tarot variants. So people started to associate 13 as a death number, essentially. Same thing in the Tarot of Marseille. 13 at a table is considered to be very unlucky. Part of that dates back to the Last Supper, as Judas, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th to sit at the table. The Bible doesn't say anything about the order that the apostles actually sat in, but the assumption is that Judas, the like bad guy, is the 13th. Yeah. And then there are actually interesting, like, well, before I get to this, there is also like there's some allusion to it about Norse mythology. So there are 12 gods that have like a dinner party in Valhalla in one recounting, and the trickster god Loki is the 13th guest to arrive, and he shoots someone, and it's just like considered to be the unlucky number. And then what's interesting is there have actually been like a lot of bad things that have been associated with the number 13. So like the Apollo 13 disaster. There are some other like 13th flight kind of things. And it's hard to say like which comes first. Like, is it that people were influenced by the number 13 and so things went wrong because they were like second guessing themselves or whatever? Not necessarily specific to Apollo 13, but other events throughout history that are considered to be unlucky. So like Friday the 13th wasn't unlucky back in this time, but like Friday, October 13th, 1307, the arrest of the Knights Templar was ordered by Philip IV of France. And so 13 wasn't considered unlucky at that time, but Friday the 13th had no meaning at that point. And so, it was like that actually was popularized by the Da Vinci Code, that was somehow related to it being Friday the 13th. Yeah, there is like the 13 Club that was formed by U.S. Civil War veteran Captain William Fowler in 1881. At the first meeting on January 13th, 1881 at 8:13, 13 people sat down to dine in room 13 of a venue in New York. They walked under a ladder to enter the room and were seated among piles of spilled salt. So lots of like 13 clubs sprang up over the next 45 years after that, so into the early 1900s. But like nothing really bad happened there. It's just people really play on the number and like having that superstition around it. So I just thought it was kind of interesting. And then specifically that there's like a phobia dedicated to fear of Friday the 13th, which is like
Mm-hmm.
so specific.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, with that, I will pass it to you.
Wow. Interesting. I
Mhm.
think I was on a plane recently that didn't have a row 13, which I didn't really know they
My
did that
God.
on
Yeah, I didn't
planes.
either.
I
That's
think
so
it was
interesting.
ancient, probably, like an
Yeah.
older plane, but
Yeah.
still interesting.
So
Okay,
weird.
let's see. I will do my New Orleans hotel. It is
Yay.
Le Pavillon. Um, so it's nicknamed the Belle of New Orleans. It's located between the Central Business District and the French Quarter. So it sounds like if we ever go there, it might be a good place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. The building has operated as a hotel since its construction in 1907, but it's been through a lot in its 100-plus-year history, um, starting with the land that it's built on. So, at the turn of the 19th century, the land that the hotel was built upon was deemed, quote, totally inhospitable and incredibly dangerous, a place of
Oh,
foul deeds and midnight murders. So,
my
not a
God.
not a good part of town, evidently.
No.
But people built there anyway. So on the
Mm.
spot where the hotel is now, it was once a streetcar depot that when that crumbled became a place for traveling shows to come, like circuses and freak shows
Mm.
and things. And then eventually it became the National Theater in 1867. And that's like the first sign of opulence coming into this
Mm.
area, making way for hotels like Le Pavillon to thrive. And it did thrive and it's still going strong. And we're going to skip some more like modern history to get to the ghosts.
We need the ghosts.
Although I think one thing the article said is that they serve peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when you arrive, which is a draw, I'm sure, for some people, and also
Yeah,
hot
not for
chocolate.
you, but yeah.
So,
You can
yeah,
have the hot chocolate.
interesting.
I'll have the PB&J.
Yeah, it's like the Hilton. I think they have cookies when you I was gonna say log in,
Mm.
check in, but
Mm-hmm.
they have
Log
walnuts
in.
in them. It's
Oh my
not
God.
cool.
Danger.
Yeah, don't
Jesus.
they understand? Some of us can't enjoy. But anyway,
And
so
Amy's a cookie monster. She needs
I
her
am.
cookies.
I know, I do.
That's
You can't
whack.
dangle that in front of me.
No.
But
Torturous.
yeah. So Le Pavillon has made the list of New Orleans' most haunted hotels, which is pretty impressive given how what we know about New Orleans.
Yeah.
And actually, this same investigator that you talked about, Dr. Larry Montz, he also went to this hotel and he claimed to have experienced nearly 100 different entities during the nights that they were in the hotel.
Oh my
So
God.
it's very active. And they definitely lean into this reputation. You can request haunted rooms. They've got materials and pamphlets about these investigations that have taken place, etc. But a few stories. So, the ninth floor of the hotel seems to be very active. One guest requested to stay on the ninth floor, but
Mm.
ended up regretting that choice when
Oh
he woke
God.
up in the middle of the night to find a woman dressed in all black sitting at the foot of his
Oh!
bed. Yeah.
Yo.
And according to this guest, the woman leaned down toward him and touched his hair, and then she whispered, "You belong to me. I'll never let you go." Which,
Oh, that gave me
scary.
chills. I hate that.
Yeah. I yeah, gives like succubus vibes almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's gonna possess.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Also, like, who
more.
did she think he was?
I know. And what was she drawn to with
Yeah.
him? It's, yeah, creepy.
Yeah,
But
very creepy.
he requested to stay there, so maybe he was like really open to
Mm.
something happening, and then it did. So, um, during Dr. Monts's investigation of the hotel, this is also on the ninth floor, they felt a really significant shift in energy around room 930. So they went into this room, and immediately the medium or whoever was on their team felt the presence of a young girl. Their guess was that she was 16 to 19 years old, and they felt a strong connection to the name Eva or Ava.
Mm.
And their research later revealed a connection between the hotel, or I guess more accurately, the land where the hotel was built, and a young woman named Ava. So her story is that in the 1840s, when the land where the hotel was built was still a streetcar depot, Ava was traveling and she was rushing from there to get to the port to catch a ship. But she was struck by a passing carriage,
Mm.
and her body rolled underneath. And when she got hit,
Oh
she suffered
God.
fatal internal injuries. And now she seems to just hang out at the hotel. Apparently, where she got hit was like
Mm.
feet away from the steps
Oh
to
wow.
the
Okay.
entrance of the hotel. Um, so people who see her in room
Mm.
930 often see her cowering at the foot of the bed, or just like kind of
Oh,
sad seeming. And they feel a really strong sense of fear and confusion, not because she's fearsome, but because
scary. Yeah.
she's like projecting that emotion,
Yeah.
I think, because of her manner of death.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that's sad.
I know. It is sad. Um, then a couple more. There's a couple who appear to be dressed in 1920s clothing. They seem
Mm.
like husband and wife who meander through the lobby holding hands. And many people have reported this couple. Um, I guess they stand out probably because of their clothes.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And they see them walk toward the elevator, watch the doors of the elevator open, but then nothing happen. So it's really
Oh,
interesting. They're like actually making something
pass.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually manipulating the elevator.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
they've,
interesting.
yeah, tried to look into whether there might be record of a couple who spent a lot of time there or maybe died there, but they
Yeah.
haven't found anything. So the theory
Mm.
is that they were just guests that really like it there, so they're
Yeah.
not causing any trouble.
Mm.
But the last ghost is more mischievous. He hangs out on the third floor. He's described as a dark haired man. They speculate that he once worked at the hotel, but they can't be
Mm.
sure. But he likes to pull covers off of people in the night.
Oh.
He stomps down the hallway with what sound like heavy boots, and
Mm.
he is always like taking and hiding the equipment that the cleaning staff uses to clean the rooms.
Mm.
So,
All that's fine except the sheets.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And the lady dressed in black,
Oh,
who's
yeah, 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 yeah,
you
yeah,
belong
yeah.
to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
pass.
otherwise, fine.
Also, Dr. Mons really gets around, eh?
Mm-hmm. He
He's
must
like,
be like a
run it
New
back in
Orleans
NOLA.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So funny.
they kept in the article they kept saying the famous paranormal investigator. And it's
Right. I'm
like,
like,
I've
I've
never
never
heard
heard of
of
him
you.
before.
Yeah, but maybe we
He'd
have to
be
look into
really
it.
offended. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm like, Zach Bagans or bust.
And
Just
Ed and
kidding.
Lorraine Warren, they're the
Yeah,
only
exactly.
ones.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. And
Yeah.
also that couple that own
Oh yeah,
that museum.
yeah. I
I
forget
don't know
what
their
it's called.
names, but if I
Mm-hmm.
saw their names, I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Um okay, well, we're going to leave New Orleans and head to Miami for the Biltmore Hotel. Um and I have a little bit of background and then a couple stories. So Some history on the Biltmore. It was built by George Merrick, who is the founder of Coral Gables, and John McEntee Bowman, who is a New York hotel magnate. Some information on how it was designed, blah, blah, blah. It became a hub very quickly for the rich and famous, offered very lavish accommodations, had a sprawling golf course, and also the world's largest swimming pool, which is so specific, and I want to swim in it. Yeah. In January 1926, the hotel debuted with an inaugural that made nationwide headline news. And basically every high-end brand opened up around the Biltmore because the hotel brought in so much traffic, and Coral Gables, this like area of Miami, like exploded essentially, became so popular just in a matter of months. The Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Judy Garland, Ginger Rogers, Al Capone, the Vanderbilts, Bing Crosby, and most presidents from the turn of the 20th century made the Biltmore their vacation home. So very posh. It's a wedding venue. It hosts world-class golf tournaments. It's like TV and movies have been filmed there, blah, blah, blah. During World War II, which is important, like most other hotels, the Biltmore was transformed for a time into a military hospital. And under military occupation, it would serve as the Army Air Force's regional hospital. So the once glamorous halls soon echoed with the sounds of medical equipment and groans of wounded soldiers. And this period consequently marked a significant shift in the hotel's history, as it became a place of healing and recovery, but also of pain and loss during wartime. So there's a heavy mob connection at the Biltmore, which is really where like the root of the haunting stems from. So the Prohibition era brought a much darker clientele to the Biltmore. The hotel became a hotspot for illicit activities as it was frequented by gangsters and bootleggers who had money and wanted to live a certain lifestyle. And among the most infamous was Thomas Fatty Walsh, who was like, if someone was like, we're gonna nickname you Fatty, I'd be like, the fuck you are. He actually used the hotel as the base of his operations. So Fatty was like, this is my jam.
This is okay.
But his reign at the Biltmore ended abruptly when he was murdered in the hotel's 13th floor suite during a gambling dispute in 1929. And his death marked the beginning of numerous ghost stories associated with the hotel. People have reportedly seen Fatty gallivanting around his room, and the ghost of Fatty Walsh is perhaps the most famous of the Biltmore's spectral residents. Many guests report seeing a portly man in period clothing roaming the 13th floor, particularly around the suite where he was murdered. Some claim to hear disembodied voices and the sound of laughter reminiscent of the wild parties Walsh once hosted. Others, particularly women, have gotten on the elevator and have found their ride stopping unexpectedly on the 13th floor, with the elevator doors refusing to close and get them to their ultimate destination. Other folks have claimed that lights have a bad habit of blinking on and off on Fatty's floor. He might be the most prolific and legendary ghost in the Biltmore, but he is not the only one. Other hauntings, a frequently reported apparition is that of an elevator operator who's seen dressed in an old-fashioned uniform. Guests have described taking a ride with this spectral figure only to find the elevator empty upon reaching their destination. And then, of course, its time as a military hospital, there was a lot of death there. So lots of ghostly soldiers in World War II uniforms have been sighted in various parts of the hotel, particularly the area that once housed the hospital wards. And some guests have reported hearing the sounds of marching boots and distant gunfire.
Wow.
And our last famous haunting at the Biltmore is a ghostly woman in white, because of course. Mm-hmm. She's often seen wandering the halls in a white dress, the halls and the grounds of the hotel. So people see her outside too, which I would hate.
Yeah.
And legend has it that she is the spirit of a young bride who took her own life after being jilted at the altar. Her mournful presence is often accompanied by a chill in the air and the scent of gardenias, which is lovely.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of teams have come in with paranormal investigation equipment, have captured a ton of unexplained phenomena like EVP or electronic voice phenomena, cold spots, anomalous EMF or electromagnetic field readings. Lots of just like creepy stuff. And apparently Miami is generally haunted AF. So there are lots of other things to potentially cover in Miami.
Interesting.
Yeah, I found a couple like Reddit stories from the Biltmore specifically.
Cool.
So this is from a deleted user from about a year ago. They say, this past summer, I stayed for a night with some friends and family at the Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables, Florida. Very well documented haunted history, and we happened to be staying in the most haunted room, the Everglades suite, which is on the 13th floor. The main ghost who's said to haunt that suite is Fatty Walsh, mobster killed there in 1929. He's harmless as far as ghosts go, throwing the occasional ghost party and bringing the occasional living girl up to the room to show her around. We're hosting a party in the suite for friends and family, and all throughout the evening, weird things kept happening. Heavy, normally hard to open balcony doors were swinging open on their own, voices were muttering in the empty hallway outside the room, etc. But the most prevalent thing came after the party when I was trying to sleep. The suite itself is 2 stories and incredibly beautiful. I highly encourage you to look it up because it's gorgeous. And the room I was staying in had the steepest staircase I'd ever seen. The thermostat in the room was just above the staircase, so I would have to precariously stand on the edge of the floor above a significant drop to reach it and adjust the temperature. The first time I got up in the night around 2 a.m., I turned the temperature down and got back in bed. But it didn't cool down. In fact, when I looked at the thermostat later, it was set hotter than it had been before I adjusted it. So I got back up to readjust, rinse, and repeat. This probably happened 5 times before I gave up. I didn't sleep the whole night, kept awake by the heat and the thought of a ghost messing with me. Now, I'm a relatively attractive young woman, or so I like to think, and Fatty Walsh's favorite target for his haunting. Did I just get harassed by a ghost trying to get me to take my clothes off? I don't know, but I don't think it's absurd for me to speculate, which I thought was like so cute and funny.
Getting creative.
Yeah,
ghost.
Exactly. He's like, we'll just turn up the heat, see what happens.
See what she does.
Yeah.
That's like Stanley. Remember how hot our room was?
Yes, I was thinking that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So hot. And then this last one is from NoCod306. And they say, me, female 17, and my best friend, female 16, took a trip to the Biltmore Hotel in Florida after watching a Sam and Colby video on it, which I think is like Ghost Hunters, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Sam and Colby, I don't know. We obviously couldn't afford the room they stayed in, the presidential suite, so we got another known haunted room. We packed our belongings and began to set up for a seance. Immediately, no. But I'm like, do it for the story, please. Yeah, so young for that.
Although
you can't even rent a car.
I held a seance when I was probably 7 to try to communicate with a friend's grandma. So I'm not one to talk.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I used to make Ouija boards.
Yeah. So
Oops.
Get it, girls.
Get it, girls. Okay, we lit candles, introduced ourselves, and then called out to any entity that could be with us. Hello, spirits. We come in here with full respect and come not to harm but to investigate. If there's anyone here with us, could you give us a clear sign of your presence? Around 15 seconds after that, we heard a knock on the wall opposite us. Demons knock.
Knocking.
Demons knock, everyone. Demons knock.
Yes.
We passed this off as it could have been just the people staying in the room next to us bumping the wall. So we call out again and ask if that was someone or something trying to communicate with us. And immediately there are 2 knocks from the same wall. So not knowing if this is just a coincidence, we brought out a piece of ghost hunting equipment called Spirit Box. So we connected this to a soundproof pair of headphones, and my best friend put them on. She closed her eyes and relaxed so that we could begin to do the Estes method. And I wonder if this is Estes like Estes Park. It's where someone
Oh.
wears headphones and it's like blaring white noise. Like you cannot hear what's around you. It's blaring. I did this on a ghost tour one time.
Oh.
And people ask you questions, but you can't hear them. All you're supposed to do, the person with the headphones, is say anything that you think you hear in the white
Oh.
noise. So it's
Interesting.
just scanning radio channels. But the idea is that like spirits should be able to manipulate the sounds that come through,
Yeah.
like EVP.
Mm-hmm.
So she like
Oh.
she was down under, which I guess is a term like when you drop in and are like fully in the zone. And so I began to ask questions about anything that could be here with us. And so I said, "Is there anything here with us?" And my best friend called out, "It's me." And there's no way she could have heard my question being asked because she has sound canceling headphones and it's so loud I can hear it outside of the headphones. So I took a leap and asked, "Who is here with us?" And my best friend then called out, "Devil and malicious."
Oh my God.
And I tapped my friend to stop the session as this really scared me. And at that moment, the wardrobe door to the side of us flung open and a white robe fell off the hanger.
Mm-mm. Nope. So that is a demon.
Hard. That is a
The
fucking
knocking.
demon.
Yep.
Pass.
Yeah. Scary.
Pass. So scary. Your turn.
Oh, wow. Okay. Abrupt.
That's it.
That's it. I won't stay there, even though
I don't
I
think
do want
so.
to go to Miami.
It sounds beautiful, but
Hmm.
yikes.
Yeah. No. Okay, I'll do the longer one and save the real
Okay.
short one for last. So
Okay.
this is La Fonda Hotel in Santa Fe.
Fonda.
Hang on. Sorry about that.
Get it.
Okay.
Clear it on out.
So, La Fonda on the Plaza is an iconic Santa Fe hotel, and it's possibly the oldest hotel in the southwestern US. It was, as we know it today, it was founded by an English born entrepreneur named Fred Harvey. And at the time, all of Fred's hotel properties were called Harvey houses. So that was its original name when it first opened its doors, as we know it today. But there have been lots of buildings that have been built and rebuilt on the same property over the years. And interestingly, the first structure to have been built on the site of La Fonda was also a hotel/inn, and that's according to records that date back to when Santa Fe was first established in
Whoa.
1607. So,
Oh.
like, real long time ago.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, so different building, obviously, but same land. So the vibes are hanging out. And at
Wild.
that time, court cases, for some reason, were heard outside of the hotel. And
Oh.
if somebody was found guilty and they were going to be hanged for their crime, they were hanged right in front of the hotel, and they were often displayed in the lobby. Why?
The bodies?
Yes, the hanging bodies. I don't know why they would do that, but
Yo,
seems
New Mexico's wild.
that's some darkness there. Yikes.
Wait, but this was what year?
1600s
I
at
mean,
some time. Yeah. Yeah. Things were different then.
yeah.
So, but
I mean, that shit still happens. It's just not a public
yeah.
activity. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not like, oh, the hangings today.
The hanging.
I better go downtown. That's not
Gross. We can
upsetting.
get a drink at the saloon after.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Next to the body.
Hotel
that's
bar?
displayed right
Yeah,
Oh my
literally. Gross.
Okay. Yikes. But
Yikes is right.
they don't do that anymore. Thank goodness.
Thank God.
And so skip a few hundred years after the Santa Fe
Yeah, please.
Trail.
Let's fast forward past this time.
Yeah. Although we're only going to like the 1800s, which
Okay.
is better,
Not-
but not
Yeah.
great.
Not modern. Yeah.
Yes. So more people were moving west, and La Fonda became a really popular destination for everybody passing through. And in the mid to late 1800s, the hotel decided to add on a gambling hall,
Mm.
which created its fair share of disputes, including one well documented incident in 1857 when a gambler was hanged in the backyard by a group of other angry gamblers. So, just a
It's enough
disproportionate
hanging.
reaction. I know.
It's
It's
enough with the
enough.
hanging.
Yes. That I think that's the last mention of it. So
Christ.
we'll
Oh my
leave that in the
God.
past. But yikes.
It's a lot of
And
death.
yes. Then a decade later, we have two more deaths to go through. There was the death of Judge John P. Slough in 1867. He was the Chief Justice of the Territorial Supreme Court, and one night he got into a heated argument with a member of the territorial legislature named Captain Reinerson. And there must be more to this, but it said in the source that I used during the fight, John accused Reinerson of being a thief and a liar, and
Mm.
he got so offended that he shot John on the spot. Another
Oh my God.
disproportionate reaction. Um, so Reinerson was arrested and tried, but he was acquitted of the crime. So maybe that's why John's ghost is still around the
Yeah,
hotel.
no
'Cause,
justice.
yeah, no justice.
And he was
But
a judge? No
yeah,
justice for the judge?
no justice for
Come
the judge.
on.
But yeah, and then another commonly experienced ghost is that of a salesman who, down on his luck, decided to hit the gambling hall, see if he could turn things around.
Always a good
Unfortunately,
idea.
yeah, didn't work. He lost all his money and also the little bit of money that he had made that was supposed to go to the company that he worked for. He gambled all of it away. He was distraught and felt like he had no other choice but to end his own life.
Mm.
So he jumped down into a deep well that was right outside the gambling hall
Mm.
and died. So
R.I.P.
visitors, yeah, rest in peace. Visitors and staff members alike have reported hearing the sound of heavy footsteps behind them in the hallways, but when they turn around, there's no one there. Often they're loud enough to keep guests awake in the night. And on one specific
Ooh.
occasion, a hotel employee went out to investigate after a guest called and complained about the loud noises
Mm.
in the hallway. And when they arrived, they saw the apparition of a man standing there in a long black coat. He
Mm.
turned to stomp down toward the stairwell and disappeared into thin air. The employee ran after to look into the stairwell, found it completely empty. But
What?
yeah, many people think that this is the ghost of the judge who died
Mm.
there because he was known for wearing the same type of long black coat.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's just wreaking havoc there,
Yeah, what the
apparently.
hell?
um, the hotel restaurant is also frequented by a ghost who is harmless, just walks through the center of the dining area
Mm.
and disappears. Coincidentally,
Still terrifying. I feel like we talk
right,
about these oh, it's nothing mean or aggressive.
right,
Oh, it just walks through your table. I
yeah,
would shit myself.
right.
I would probably pass out
Yes,
of
yeah,
fear.
I know.
Or
We
oh, the
become,
minor haunting.
yeah, very casual. It's just a full
Very
body
casual.
apparition.
Yeah,
That's all.
no big deal. That's it.
Yeah,
Insane.
but I mean, who knows? He coincidentally, or I guess not coincidentally, the current dining room was built on top of the well that the traveling
Mm.
salesman leapt into, so we think that that is him.
Mm.
And then the final ghost here is in Suite 510. People report seeing the ghost of a young bride. And this story can be corroborated by records that show that a young woman was murdered at the hotel on her wedding night by a jealous former lover.
Mm.
And so she's most often seen in the wedding suite to suite 510, but she has also been seen in the lobby, the basement, and in the elevators. So she has the run of the place. Um, Also, just a couple one off instances here. Somebody reported seeing the ghost of a cowboy, like sidling up to the
Oh.
bar. And this one would be so scary. It's from a
Oh,
housekeeper.
God.
She went into an unoccupied room, saw the outline of a person under the covers. And when she went to rip the sheets back to see who was in there was no one
No.
there. So,
That's like a horror movie trope, I
yes.
feel.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't like that. I don't
No.
like that at
If
all.
I saw that, I'd run the opposite direction. Like,
Oh, I
people
would
are
be
brave.
pew, just
Yeah.
pew, pew,
Mm-hmm.
like
A
gone.
speeding bullet. Yep.
A speeding bullet,
Mm-hmm.
truly.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Don't like
Yes.
that.
Nope.
Um, okay, well, I have like actually two quick ones, and one is like a comment about the Biltmore because someone was like, "Oh, are you talking about the Bellevue Biltmore in Clearwater?" Which there's another
Oh.
haunted Biltmore apparently. So this is from Click 13, and they say I worked there from late 2001 until the summer of 2004, initially as a waiter, bartender, and later in sales. And I had three separate inexplicable incidents in the hotel, which I'm not entirely convinced were paranormal, but were certainly extremely unnerving at the time. The first one would have been sometime in 2002, and I was in the closed off area on the fifth floor. In the hotel's heyday, the fifth floor was where the staff lived during the season, and by 2002, it was in a pretty shabby state of disrepair. There was no electricity at all on the floor, as confirmed at the time by one of the maintenance staff who was a part of the group of coworkers that I was with at the time. And there was still furniture in many of the rooms, wallpaper peeling from the walls, so like really just like run down. And I recall one room even containing an antique crib, which is a spooky sight to see. Yeah, I hate that. Like, just throw it out.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing Nick Hogan talking about this area on an episode of Celebrity Ghost Stories, and he describes it exactly as it was when I went exploring up there. I was with a group of about 5 people after our evening shift in the restaurant, which was called the Terrace Cafe at the time, and we had to pick a lock to get access to the 5th floor, which was completely dark. I think we had one flashlight with us and maybe a couple of cigarette lighters. I'd have never stepped foot up there at night by myself, but with a crowd of us, we felt pretty brave. We looked around for a few minutes, and as we were walking past one of the open rooms, there was a sort of a spark, like a light, that lit up in the room for an instant, and it made a sort of whooshing noise as it happened, and then made a sort of crackling noise as it vanished, and it felt as if the air was charged, like static electricity. Every one of us saw it, and every one of us felt it. A natural explanation could have been that one of us brushed against a bare wire that created a spark, but as I mentioned before, the maintenance worker who was with us confirmed that there is zero electricity at all running to the 5th floor. We left and went back downstairs as soon as that happened. 2 other things that happened to me when I was alone, unfortunately. Once I was in the bathroom of the main hallway, and this bathroom was completely finished with marble floor and walls, and any sound echoed in there as a result. There would be no mistaking if there was someone in there with you. I was in one of the stalls when I felt, I'll say, a shadow pass in front of me on the other side of the stall door, and a moment later, it was as if someone pulled on the door from the other side of my stall. And I know for a fact there was no one there. So I finished my business as quickly as I could, and I'm pretty sure I never went into that bathroom again. Now, when I was part of the sales staff, part of my normal duties was to give tours to prospective clients. So I was preparing for a tour by first checking the guest room in advance that I'd later be showing. It was in a room on the 2nd floor at the far end of the hall that was looking out at the tennis courts facing the Gulf. I remember something being wrong with the room. I think there was actually a burn mark or something on the carpet, almost that looked like someone had sat a hot iron on the floor. I sat down on the couch to call the front desk to ask if I could switch this room with another when the TV turned on by itself. Thinking that I, of course, had just sat on the remote control, I stood up to look in the couch cushions for it when the TV turned off again. So after I hung up with the front desk, I walked to the door and stood for just a moment before leaving. And sure enough, the TV came on again by itself. I listened in the rooms nearby, thinking maybe someone was in there and their remote was affecting the TV in this room, but it seemed like those rooms were completely empty. I went back to the sales office and told everyone what I'd just experienced, and my manager, Mary, went to check it out for herself. She said that when she got to the room, the TV was on and the volume was turned up at full blast, and she could hear it. It was so loud she could hear it as she was walking down the hall, and when I'd left, the volume had been at 0.
Whoa.
That was a fun place to work. It definitely had a unique energy about it, and a good number of my coworkers had experiences of their own. I went back recently in 2020 to check out the new renovations. It's very well done, and they did a beautiful job, but it just didn't seem to have that same character that it once did. So,
Wow.
creepy other Biltmore.
Yeah, and that's also in Florida?
Yeah, Clearwater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scary.
And this is my last one.
Okay.
So this is from Scumbag760.
Love it.
I've been doing security at different places in different cities for years. Every hotel I've worked at had stories from staff about seeing ghosts or having strange things happen. The stories typically claim the ghosts are of someone who killed themselves, someone who was murdered, or a staff member that died. I typically don't believe any of the stories, and I can usually tell when someone is full of it or they're just repeating a story that they heard from someone as if it's their own. I've purposely stayed in spots where people claimed the ghosts are seen, and I've never seen or experienced anything that couldn't be explained with wind, bad lighting, or just being in a creepy spot. There's one place I worked at, however, where it was genuinely scary, and I experienced something I absolutely cannot explain. Knowing I looked into any possible explanation and still cannot come up with anything really creeps me out and has changed my mindset on ghosts and the supernatural. I always wanted to believe that they were real, and now I entirely do. It's just a matter of figuring out when people are making it up, over-exaggerating, or when they're too blinded by fear to realize the real cause of what happened. So I used to work at a hotel in Palm Springs, California, that used to be Gene Autry's house and property. The property consisted of south and north buildings where the guest rooms were located. There's a big spa, a ballroom, the Autry house, as well as a maintenance shed and security trailer. All buildings were tied together with landscaping that consisted of large, tall bushes and trees with dirt paths carved through them. Wandering around the paths, you'd find grass areas, one with a fireplace, one with hammocks, an area for pétanque, a tennis court, 2 pools, and a ping pong table next to an outside bar. So it was like beautiful. North and south buildings had white hallways with the guest rooms painted blood red, and every time I turned a corner, I thought I was going to see the girls from The Shining. The spa was called Psych, Palm Springs Yacht Club, and not only had a creepy name, but the decor was a dated yachting theme. I hated going in there. It was super dark, had all kinds of corridors and dark rooms that I had to check. The ballroom was a giant open area with a room with a kitchen attached in the back, as well as a seating area in the front. This place wasn't very scary and was easy to lock down. In fact, I'd take breaks in there. I had to go into the Autry house every night if it was vacant to make sure it was clean and ensure all of the lights were off. The house is in a C shape with 2 wings connected by a main room and kitchen. And at the end of each wing was a master bedroom, or primary. And in between the primary bedrooms, there was a patio area with sliding glass doors to each room. Animal skin rugs on the ground, old paintings on the walls. And the north main room, the top right part of the C shape, had a wall covered in wooden African masks, some shaped like animals, some evil looking with horns, and I hated it. I stopped going into either main room because my imagination would just run rampant. The rooms had an intercom system on the walls, and I was terrified I'd be in one of the rooms and have the intercom go off. I imagined I would look across the patio to the other room and find someone in one of those masks staring at me, which is such a creepy thought.
Scary thought, but weird
Yeah.
decor.
There was a maintenance man named Mac that worked there. He was a really cool older guy that I'd talk to all the time. He was a Green Beret in Vietnam, and I had a lot of respect for him. He'd tell me old combat stories, and we'd speak about life and family. He seemed like a perfectly normal guy, but he always had stories of ghosts on the property. He didn't willingly give the information up, but if you asked, he would tentatively tell you some stories. And the more I got to know him, the crazier the stories sounded. He told me he would see the hammocks start swinging by themselves when he'd be nearby changing a landscaping light. He told me the tennis court's lights would go on and off on their own. He had a story of a female he would see every once in a while in the ballroom dancing in a red dress by herself. And another story that stood out was about a person he had seen floating across the pool in Psych. After the last few stories, I started to really question if he maybe had a few screws loose or he just liked messing with people. I'd really press him, and he was totally adamant that they were true and eventually stopped talking about it, so I learned to leave it alone. There were other stories of seeing a woman in a green shirt in the bathroom mirrors, and actually one security guard quit one night. He said he came out of the bathroom and saw a woman in a green sweater staring at him next to the bed, not saying anything. He ran out of the room and quit.
Wow.
I know that part is true because I had to cover his shift. And one last thing I remember was from a guy in room service. He told me he was delivering an order to the Autry house one night. He took the path that passed the pétanque court, and he dropped the food off, began his way back, and as he was passing the court again, all of the chairs were lined up across the pathway, blocking him from walking past. The court has soft sand, and you can tell when someone's been walking through it, and he said he did not see a single footstep. So he put the chairs back and stopped walking that way. Mm-hmm. So on to my experience. One of my duties for the night was to go into each vacant room to ensure all of the lights were off, note if the room was clean or dirty, ensure windows are locked, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you'd walk into a room and the phone on the nightstand would turn its speaker on and it would just start crackling. I always chalked this up to just being old phones with bad wiring, probably just so I wouldn't get too scared to do my job. And one night I was checking the rooms in the north building on the second floor. I was going into room 46N, and all of the lights were on in the room, which was typical. So I started turning them all off, starting from the left side of the room, going around to the right where I would end at the bathroom. The bathroom had 2 French-style doors that opened outward into the room, and the left door was partially closed, and the bathroom light was on the other side. I opened the door outward all the way to the wall of the room. I reached in and turned the light off. I took a step toward the entry hallway of the room. I always kept that light on so I can see on my way out, and I noticed it was freezing in the room. This didn't seem strange to me. Sometimes housekeeping turns the AC down to the 60s while they're working if it's a hot day. So I reached up to the thermostat next to the bathroom, but before I could touch the thermostat, the bathroom door had slammed shut so hard that the walls shook. Yeah. You need to understand that these doors only had hinges and a simple locking device near the handle, no springs or arms attached. The doors were made of very light slatted wood, and if I threw the door as hard as I could, it would not have slammed. I ran out of that room so fast, it took 3 steps. I opened the door and ran through it into the hallway, and as I was pulling the door closed, the deadbolt ejected out of the door and slammed into the door frame. I was terrified, but I wanted to close that damn door, and I dreaded having to do it, but I reached in quickly, turned the switch, and closed the door. I was so surprised by what had happened, I was tearing up. I decided I couldn't exactly chalk that event up to the paranormal unless I investigated a bit, so I went back into the room. The door was still closed. I opened it and threw it as hard as I could. The door caught so much wind, it slowed down and barely got to the frame. I already knew the windows were closed and locked, so it wasn't the wind. And the floor was not uneven near the door, so it wasn't being pulled in by gravity. I looked at the thermostat and it was set to 75, and it was also no longer freezing cold. I went out of the room and never went back in. And they go on to say they've had other experiences, but that one really scared them.
Yeah. That would scare me too.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm.
So
and that was California?
Somewhere in Palm Springs. Yeah, the Gene Autry house. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. Spooky.
That is a crazy story.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, my final one is also in California. Different part though. So it's the Gun House, and it dates back to 1850. Another gold rush situation. And so the original builder and owner of the Gun House is Lewis Gunn. He went to Sonora, California to mine for gold. And after months of looking for gold, he realized he was basically just digging holes and that his mining career was not going to take off. He did, however, have some medical knowledge, so he decided that he would make himself available to fill the medical needs of the community. And surprisingly, he did a really good job. He helped cure people of scurvy because he knew that if you ate citrus or something fresh, it would go away. He knew that dysentery could be avoided with a clean water supply, things like that. He,
Slay.
yeah, I know.
Modern medicine. Get it.
Yeah, pretty amazing. He also eventually became the county recorder, and so all the county records were kept in this home. And so at this point, he was like, I'm really well established here. I'll bring my family. His wife and 4 children arrived. They lived there for 10 years before moving to San Francisco. But
Word.
once the Gunn family no longer lived there, it was sold and used as a hospital until
Classic.
about 1900 when it was converted to a hotel. And as we know, buildings that were used as hospitals often have a lot of ghost stories.
Hell yeah.
And so some general reports of paranormal occurrences include like a constant sense of being watched when you're in your hotel room, or the feeling of someone or something sitting on the bed beside you.
Mm-hmm.
In room 10, one guest reported being violently hurled out of his bed, so clearly not welcome to stay there.
Yeah.
In room 11, guests have either come back to the room to find it rearranged or even witnessed furniture moving in the night and like getting pushed. It's also very common for people in that room to notice all of the artwork and things on the walls becoming askew during the night, even though seemingly
Ew, while
nothing
you're
happened.
asleep.
Yeah,
Hate
but
that.
and then having no idea like why it happened.
Right.
So strange. And then just randomly people have heard like rattling coins and jingling sounds in that room.
Hate
But the
it.
most consistently haunted room is room 12. And guests returning to their room for the night have reported opening their door to see a shadowy person standing by the entrance, which
Oh,
feels different from others because I feel like you see a shadow across the room.
yeah.
He's
It's
by the
right
bed.
there.
He's at the entrance. That is so scary.
Oh my God.
um,
I feel like the
yeah.
moral of this episode is I would shit myself.
Yes, I know. For all of these experiences,
Yep.
I'm done. And yeah, others have seen this same shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed as they sleep. So don't
As
stay
they
in
sleep.
room
Fun.
12.
Yeah. Or maybe there at all. I don't know.
Yeah,
Pass.
maybe not at all. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pass for me.
Yes. Yep. But that's it.
Holy. Whole
Some
lot of haunted
haunted.
hotels, baby.
Yes, that's for sure.
I love
It's a
it.
good one.
I love it. And next week we're going international. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeesh. Well, sweet. We will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, stay
Stay
spooky.
spooky. Bye.
Bye.